My grandfather died 20 years ago. My sister, my youngest sister, walked up behind me. She put her hands on my shoulder. She said, well, get it all out now, because tomorrow you're the leader of this family. I wasn't prepared to lead no family 20 years ago. It took me 20 years how to figure this out. But now that I have it figured out, the same sister called me and said, you're doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Watching this interview between Cam Newton and Killer Mike, one of the things that really struck me is that aside from the fact that both of these guys have very enviable positions in that they have a lot of clout, they have money, they have multiple baby mothers, they probably have access to a lot of women, they aren't necessarily in the freest of situations. When you heard the story about Killer Mike saying he was in his 20s and when his grandfather died, suddenly he was the patriarch of the family, or should I say he's the person who was responsible for the family working, because essentially he wasn't really a patriarch, he was kind of the person that was going to fund the family. And you're going to hear these guys make a series of logical statements based on the fact that they're in the situation that they're in, which is interesting because we're going to come back to that later.
So I don't understand the concept of when people say, well, you're creating broken homes, things of that nature. If you going by the Western archetype, if you going by the Western Christian archetype, absolutely. But if you going by, man, Bessemer, Alabama, Macon, Georgia, North Florida, South Georgia, shit me, I know some niggas with 3-4 families. And all the children turned out to be successful. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's something that we don't like to hear, don't make us comfortable. But Shahrazad Ali said it years ago. She was like, you know, say you ain't got to give a black man permission to have another woman. So they been doing that. My thing is, do those children say, I love and respect my father? Mm. Are those women loved and respected and protected? You know, I don't have to have sex with the mothers of my children, but boy, ain't no Cardinals late. Mm. You know, and I'm not talking about just me. Again, I'm wearing this. I'm talking this I know some work for waterworks that they children mama's not worried. You get what I'm saying? Yes, so for me, if you're a man and you've made these children now, you know this is not the perfect environment or whatever you and this woman might be having between y'all insecurities and egos. But you know, if you guys cooperate and collaborate, these children grow up better.
What's interesting in the logic that you're hearing is that it's a logic that is forming around his situation. Now, would he go back and do it differently? You have to ask him that. But I would dare say that if you gave him a choice, would you want to have all of your children with one woman in one roof where they were all living together, or would you rather do it the way you've done it? I'm pretty sure that he would choose to have them all with the same woman just for convenience sake in terms of legal reasons and everything. But if you're a guy in this situation, one thing that many people will tell you is that you can be the man. You can have a lot of different women, but with that comes this. And the way I see it, he's kind of trapped.
The 3 women that gave me children are not my baby's mothers. These are queens in my eyes. These are empresses. Even the days where we have not gotten along, you have given me the most important gift any human being could have given me, in giving me these human beings. So I don't care how people view it. I don't care how people view the function. I don't care if people, you call it a broken home, I buy y'all asses homes all on the same street next to each other then.
Needless to say, I'm a big fan of Killer Mike, so I'm not criticizing him in this video at all. Actually, what I'm doing in this video is I'm showing that if you looked at the comments of this video, I don't have to show them to you because you know what they say. These men are creating broken families, shaking the finger, all of that stuff. But the ladies are lining up for these men, and so they are partaking of it. And so his logic in this situation is, well, in Muslim cultures, they have multiple wives, and if I provide for all of those women and they're my queens and my children are well-functioning adults, then it all comes out in the wash, if you will. But you can hear, even when he talks about it in his logic, he knows that there are some things he wants to do that he can't quite do, so he has to change the way he sees things to make it work. And that's kind of sort of where the black community is, and that's why I say it's a trap.
Man, but I want to tell all the brothers out there with multiple children, make it your job to make sure that those children are connected beyond you. Not just on your birthday and on Father's Day and on Christmas. Make sure that those children have to get together when you're not together.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you want to get ahead of the fashion curve and be one of the fashionistas or the fashionistas and get your hair just right for the next craze, which is bound to be a redo of the 80s craze, this video is brought to you by Soul Glow. Check out Soul Glow in action. As much as I like the two gentlemen in this conversation, they are outliers, not in just the fact that they can afford to have multiple kids with multiple baby mothers, but because they are sports athletes and entertainers, which means that they are doing something that a very small group of people get to do and make millions of dollars from. As a matter of fact, very, very few people even make millions of dollars to begin with. And to do it doing something that is basically what people do in their fun time, as opposed to something that's absolutely necessary, essentially their views kind of sort of don't matter because they can afford to pay for any of the quote unquote mistakes that they make. But one thing that does happen is that this kind of conversation permeates the airwaves, the internet. And so people have conversations about what they're talking about, and they try and fashion, even when he said people working at waterworks have multiple baby mothers, if he loses his job, he's going to jail. But they don't really cover that part of it because it's just not really their reality. And so this very small group of people that have this large amount of money doing something that very few people do are shaping a narrative that quite simply just doesn't work. And their logic reflects it because it's a logic for a very small group of entertainers making millions of dollars like this.
Man, when they said Bronny.
Nepotism.
What was it, nepotism?
Nepotism.
Yeah, you said nepotism is as American as can be. We love it when it's the Kennedy.
Come on, man.
We love, yeah, why wouldn't you want nepotism?
All these words for certain seasons, but I would say to this, right? I think when it was said to me, you don't know my situation. You can kind of look at the cover and be like, oh, that's a typical situation, but I'm not your prototypical type.
Yeah, you're not.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that my whole focus, if you call my baby mama Kia right now and you ask her what my New Year's resolution was and is, and if you can ask my girl, Jazz, you ask her what my New Year's resolution is. I wanted to build my relationship and co-parenting with all my baby mamas.
That's beautiful.
You see what I'm saying? And it be respectful.
Yeah.
Here's the rub in this conversation. This is why I say it's a trap, because there are two traps here. The one trap is that these two men probably did not start out thinking I'm going to have multiple baby mothers. Probably what happened is that they thought I'm getting a lot of access to a lot of different women, and on one particular night, it was so exciting and so pleasurable that they went all the way through with the act. And then she says, I'm not getting rid of the child because you have a lot of money. And here he is trying to make a co-parenting situation with an additional woman. That's the one trap. The second trap is telling guys that this is manhood. And so when guys are hearing that this is manhood, they think, okay, I can be with young ladies that are baby mothers, or I can go out and have a good time. And if you have that one night, it's going to change your life. And then it compounds on itself because people are then talking about this as black masculinity. When 54, almost 55, maybe even up to 60% of black men right now don't even have children. But when the election comes along and everyone says you guys don't want to take care of your baby mothers and you have kids all over the place, they're not talking about the 60% of men that don't have kids in the black community. They're talking about these guys who could fund their life as baby mama number 5, 6, 7, however many. And this trap is a shadow that's cast over all black men. And either one, you want to mimic this kind of masculinity so you get into the circle of, oh, I get baby mothers, and some people say that baby mothers are for fun only until you have the one night when it's not fun, and then she says, I'm not getting rid of the child, and then you're playing the same game where you got kids going between 2 or 3 people's houses because they have multiple fathers, all that stuff. And then there's a whole community of people saying this is what black masculinity and black fatherhood is, and you're making excuses for it, and it's just a mess.
You know, I mean, my thing is, man, Ted Turner, man, is one of the greatest Atlanteans ever. Mm-hmm. He's an absolutely amazing human being, and he was a maverick. He was wild as could be. Yeah. Lived one of the most exciting, badass lives ever. You know, you don't hear him getting the same critique. You know what I mean? Eddie Murphy, Eddie got, 10, 11 kids. You never hear him getting the same critique. It seems to be.
Hold on. I'll give you another one. Tom Brady.
Oh man, shouts out to Brady. Yeah, shouts out to Thomas, man.
Thomas.
You know, you'll get mad at Thomas. I think that the more private you keep your personal life, the better for the children.
Right, I
And
agree
you know,
with that.
ultimately, you know, people can have their opinions on your situations based on what their egos and insecurities,
Correct.
or real thoughts and beliefs, like from a moral or integrity standpoint. But I remember being young when I finally got outside of my neighborhood and outside of just Black Atlanta and started organizing with kids who were white, who were other ethnicities and stuff. A lot of them who grew up in strictly two-parent households, man, it was a weird occurrence because they didn't like their parents.
Killer Mike goes on to say that these young kids in other communities don't have a way of really expressing their feelings about their parents. But the unfortunate thing about this conversation being had by two prominent Black men is that this is an image that's being cast of the African-American Black male community. This is how Black men do. And so people focus in on this conversation and not on the conversation of Black men that are looking to be proper patriarchs and take care of their kids and make sure their kids advance so that they can do well as a competent group of kids in this next world that's going to be very tech heavy. I don't have a problem with Killer Mike. As a matter of fact, I really like Killer Mike. But I think when these guys have these kind of conversations, it's a trap for regular guys to listen to, because you're not going to make $5, $6, $10 million in a year that came from putting a mic in front of your face or running a football and get it very quickly or easily. Instead, you're going to have to learn a very difficult skill. And while you're upskilling, you're going to make more money. And if you have a baby mother or two or three, she's going to get a chunk of that money, which is going to fasten you down to where you are. In effect, what they're basically saying is this is how to anchor yourself into the Black community, or dare I say the Black matriarchy. Because as much as they put this situation in a where they have complete control over it, those baby mothers have complete control over those men's ability to see their kids. Because they can wake up one day and say, I'll take less money if I want to make more trouble for him. And the only ace in the hole, the only thing he has to play is his money. And the day that the money doesn't work, or better yet, the day that she gets old enough and she wants to be somewhere else, she wants to live halfway across the country, what cards can he play besides I can get a very good lawyer and go to court for 5 years? And that's the part of it they never talk about in these conversations. And so for younger guys looking at this and saying, this is Black masculinity, this is what it's like to be a man, I don't think so. And matter of fact, I think it's a trap. And maybe even there's someone outside of these two that are putting this in front of everyone, so it looks like this is what Black masculinity is, when it's really not. What Black masculinity is Black men skilling up, getting married, having kids in wedlock, and raising those kids to be engineers, scientists, doctors, teachers, movers and shakers, and doing that with a woman that is cooperating, that's on his game plan. And I don't think we're going to see that until we see some passport bros put it in people's face. Until then, people are going to put this as the face of Black masculinity. And it's time that we did something about it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. Catch you next video. Take care, guys.